Yeah, I'm Grant Smith from Soundcamp, which is an artist collective based in London. And we're very pleased for an invitation to talk about Reveil. Reveil was the first live 24-hour broadcast of live Sounds of Daybreak. And it started at 5 in the morning on Saturday, the 3rd of May, and ran until 6 o'clock the following morning, which was International Dawn Chorus Day. Traveling west from one live audio stream to the next, following the sunrise. So I thought it would be sensible to say a little bit about how the broadcast worked in quite simple terms, to give you a sense of what it sounded like, insofar as that's possible, in quite a small slot, and to say something about Soundcamp and the evolving global open microphone network. So we could do those again. So the Reveil started with, well, typically quite muddy soundscape with traffic and a few birds in my backyard in Camberwell in South London at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning. It's not a particularly distinguished soundscape, it's a kind of everyday soundscape. We can actually probably go live to that as well. So, should have a little bit more gain, I would have thought there, maybe, I don't know. Is that feasible? Yeah, because that's my maximum volume, so if I have a little bit of space, that would be useful. Is that good? Thank you. Okay, so this is live. This is a live feed now. It's probably about 6 or 7 seconds of latency. So just to talk through for what was involved in how the broadcast worked. So the starting point is an open microphone, which in this case is in South London. The microphone captures sounds, which are then digitized, in this case by an Icicle USB sound card, and passed to a processor, which here is a Raspberry Pi, similar to in the previous presentation. And that is sent out as a data stream to a remote server. So here we're using open source software, Dark Ice, to stream to an IceCast 2 server maintained by the Arts Sound Research Group, Locus Sonus, at the art schools of Aix-en-Provence and Bourges. So then, at Soundcamp, we pick up the URL of the various streams and retransmit them. So we did the broadcast from a temporary studio at a Soundcamp itself, running over that weekend at Stave Hill Ecological Park in Rotherhithe. We set up a 4G network, and we sent the broadcast to a server by Wave Farm in upstate New York in the Upper Hudson, and they broadcast the whole 24 hours online and live on their local FM station, and provided a URL for Resonance, our London broadcast partners, and various other radio stations locally around the world. So this is archived from the broadcast. From London we went to Spain. This is a forest, audio from a forest cam in Playa de Corrals in Valencia. It's actually designed as a night cam to capture wild boars. And in fact, as we were broadcasting, this guy came up turned off the stream.
We have moved to Tembe, Africa, South Africa, and we are getting the feed from Africa. You're listening to Reveil.
So this is twilight around about in a waterhole near the Kruger National Park in southern Africa. We played a number of live feeds from this region. As you can imagine, we spend a bit more time with them to allow the dawn chorus sounds to evolve before we moved on west, heading back up north. So we picked up some intercepts from around the Azores of air traffic control from Radio Santa Maria, and then moving on. This is
live sound
this is
from the Iberian margin hydrophone. And this is
expecting a little more gain here. So this is, thank you. That's good. It's actually quite a, yeah, if we work together a bit on this, maybe it's very loud, I can't actually tell. So this is the Iberian hydrophone, excuse me, in the Eastern Atlantic, which is part of the Lido Underwater Observatory. There's a network of these things that anyone can listen to online. It's maintained by the Polytechnic University of Catalonia, and it's part of a marine bioacoustics program. This is kind of like Eastern Atlantic filtering into the English Channel, so there's a lot of what we would sort of generally call noise pollution, a lot of shipping noise, very occasional sort of kind of cetaceans and such, but not a particularly thrilling soundscape. But let's lose that one. Live capture from the 3rd of December of 2013, so it wasn't part of the Reveil broadcast. We're listening to vocalizations of rare Weddell seals, shrimps, which are the clicking noises, occasional whales and dolphins, sounds of moving ice, and various artifacts from the remote transmission, which is by satellite. So this is a feed maintained by the Paloa Deepwater Research Station of the Alfred Wegener Institute under the Antarctic ice in the Weddell Sea. And on the 3rd of May, when we were doing the broadcast in Rotherhithe, it was one of the last days, as we were clocking when dawn was, it's one of the last days of the Arctic summer. And in a few days, the AWI Polar Research Station was due to enter 6 months of permanent darkness. During this period, they continue to broadcast 24-hour feed through what you can imagine are quite demanding technical conditions. It's quite a remarkable kind of phenomena in this feed, technically and kind of aesthetically in terms of the way it opens up this soundscape to listeners. So as these things go, after the feed had been working for, I don't know, a year or something with no faults, it went down a few days before the broadcast. Hence, this is from an archive. So it was kind of a long, lonely trip across the Atlantic. This is very kind of degraded feed. We're actually listening to the surf, but it's like white noise.
We're on a balcony in Salvador, Bahia, on the east coast of Brazil, not far from the sea. We're listening to a live stream by Robin Rennick on the Locus Sonus Open Microphone Network.
Which promptly stopped as soon as we announced him. So, still following the dawn, remember, so we're following sunrise, still twilight, it's just tracking before the dawn, so picked up some police intercepts around New Jersey and New York City, and then up to Ithaca, upstate New York. This is pre-dawn sounds of amphibians from a webcam maintained by the Cornell Laboratory of Ornithology. And from here, things got a little bit easier. There was quite a dense and varied collection of streams from across North America and even Central America. Let's try this. So if we take these frogs, so we're live again here now. I mean, I hate to play recordings, but to give sound camps about live streaming, but to give some sense of the broadcast, yeah. So this is live as we're listening. It's a stream a stream for Wild Nature Songs, a project by Joel Goodwin, who's based in Austin, Texas. He also has a very nice live stream from there. Because it's not dawn, it's probably we're here 6:52, so it's around the middle of the day. We're listening to sounds from the southern Pacific coastal rainforests of Costa Rica with about 6-7 seconds latency. So the equipment that Joel Goodwin uses costs about $6,000 for a kit, and the Raspberry Pi-based stream boxes that we've developed with Locus Sonus cost about £100, and the cost is coming down all the time, and the quality is going up. So it's quite easy to see the potential for making the live archive, as we've been calling it, much more accessible to more people in more places. So we kind of need to keep moving because, I expect I'm running late, so I'm just going to keep talking. Imagine we've reached the west coast of North America. We're coming to the shores of the Pacific. This is again a recording, I'm afraid. These are humpback whales off the coast of Puako, Hawaii. This stream is quite typical of some aspects of the live field, in that these whales come down from the Arctic in early spring. They sing long, complex, four-part looping songs, which they evolve collectively over a period, over the breeding season, and come late spring, early summer, they stop singing and return to the Arctic. This stream is provided by the Jupiter Foundation, which is a non-profit who use microphones on remote-controlled rafts, broadcast the signal over 3G to a base station, and then make it available online. As you can imagine, in addition to the transience of environmental changes and seasonal variations, this is also technically prone to issues. So we better do, I think, now an enormous sleep.
We just lost connection with the audio report. We hope that the stream will be back soon. As I previously said, that's part of the process, these unexpected events. You're listening to Reveil, a 24-hour broadcast of live daybreak sounds provided by a global network of open microphones, individual streamers, live cameras, hydrophones. We are following the path of the sun, and we bring you all the daybreak sounds as they happen around the world. And now we can go back to Yanyi in Shanghai.
So as Maria Papadomonoulaki is saying, the Reveil broadcast brings together a number of different sources. There are permanent microphones on the Locus Sonus open network. There are independent channels, assembled audio from various streaming media, and new streams commissioned for the event from sound artists around the world, using a variety of fixed and mobile applications, including ICEs and Nicecast and other options. This stream is from Yanyi, aka Audio Ripple in Shanghai, and it is via Mixler. So Mixler was a great platform for us because it allows you also to chat. It's got great connectivity. It's very robust. And you've got to bear in mind that all around the world, people were getting up in the dark and early in the morning and putting up live feeds and trying to coordinate the time when there was interesting audio with our evolving playlist and time zones and so forth. So Mixler was a very good way to work that. Mixler, you probably know, is available for laptop and for iPhone. There are also free streaming apps available for Android and iPhone directly from Locus Sonus, and we make disk images available for people who are interested in setting up streams with Raspberry Pis. We also potentially have equipment today. So moving west again from Shanghai, there were a lot of streams coming towards Europe and through Europe. So we had about 140 streams lined up for the broadcast, of which we selected about 60 or so on the day. For instance, we listened into a kestrel nesting box at Eliakim Hatikva Elementary School in Israel, and immediately after that, the sounds of prayer calls and larks over city traffic in Amman, Jordan. Branat Zorman of Radio Kona was on an island off the coast of Croatia with an amazing stream, in an icecast stream, in a violent electrical storm. And Leandro Pisano and Raffaele Mariconti were in the Fortori River Valley with Scopes owls and roosters and dogs on another Mixler stream. And then as we got to the UK, Dawn Scarf, sound artist in the UK, also part of Sound Camp, was sleeping out alone in a forest somewhere in England, which she did not want to reveal the location of, broadcasting with a Pi and the Wolfson audio card over 3G. Not all the streams were traditional field recordings, however. So people will maybe recognize this is a VLF radio station located in Cumiana in Italy. So very low frequency radio stations pick up natural radio waves propagating from the atmosphere and seismic events on the planet, which are broadcast by this very committed group of enthusiasts. This person's in Cumiana. There's a nice one in Hawley, Texas. It's quite a nice one sometimes in Surfside Beach in South Carolina. Not today, and in Sheffield. Quite muted. The field comes and goes. So altogether, the show was not confined to birdsong or even to conventional environmental sound, as you might expect. So I would like to finish with two things, if that's okay. I'm really not sure. Am I okay on time? So maybe we could do this. It's kind of a nice place to kind of be finishing up. So this is live again. This is by Grégoire Lauvin in the Pre-Alps above Aix-en-Provence in a fairly remote location. This is over 3G. For the Echo In project at Locus Sonus. This is again using a Raspberry Pi, this time with pure data. When we actually came here in the morning of the 4th of May, very early, you could hear the goats being milked. This inhabited soundscape is typical of the ones that we at Sound Camp have found to be the most compelling. So whereas some kind of acoustic people working in an acoustic ecological tradition are very interested in pristine wild soundscapes, we are interested in places where there is intense interaction between human and non-human subjects. And this ecological diversity tends to be reflected in varied soundscapes, and it is well documented that these places are often under environmental pressure, sometimes intense. And of course, many are in the global south, which is very underrepresented in the live archive as we've been exploring it, and also very selectively represented in field recordings. For instance, if you go to Radio Apori, it's a fantastic sound map, there are almost no recordings from East Africa. Which brings us to the last little segment here. So we're listening to sounds from Maweni farm near Stony in the mountains in northeast Tanzania. This is a field recording again, I'm afraid it's not live. We are by a lake and it's been raining and the rain has stopped and people and everyone's like coming out. We're hearing the voice of the singer over the lake and reflected off steep slopes behind. And around the lake there's a colony of African golden and grosbeak weavers that are providing these kind of constant high-pitched vocalizations. And up front there are sounds of swallow-tailed flycatchers, and this liquid sound is white-browed robin chat. And there are mouse birds and various other things in the soundscape. You can hear people kind of beginning to go about their business. So up behind this location, there is steep slopes with very intricate and kind of fascinating agroforestry, combining imported species and talking technology, imported species, indigenous plants, and various kinds of hybrids. It supports a high density of human population, but also a very biodiverse ecology of non-human species. This place and other places we've been listening to just during this little kind of précis are places that we would like at Sound Camp to find ways of attending to more closely, partly through technical means. So the longer aim of Reveil and the Sound Camp project is to catalyze the development of a wider permanent open microphone network as a resource for artists, activists, researchers and other listeners. In November, Soundcamp's going back to this location in Maweni to install 3 permanent open microphones based on Raspberry Pi stream boxes. I have one with me if anyone's interested afterwards to have a look. And we're also working towards towards the broadcast in 2015. We're working on marine and island soundscapes and related projects. That's a good place to stop, isn't it? Thank you. I'm sorry if I went over.
Thank you, Grant. This was absolutely fascinating.